All right. Once again, you're welcome to today's session. And we're glad to see you here. Today, we all know our theme is going to be prioritizing professional development. And we're going to kickstart this with a recording from one of us, Blessing, um, who is a professional development coordinator for us, Africa ELTA. Um, she was unable to do this in person due to unavoidable circumstances, but she took the effort to make the recording. So I will play the recording for you right away.
Hello, everybody. I welcome you all to the Africa ELTA May webinar. I'm Blessing Apon, the Professional Development Coordinator for Africa ELTA. And with me today is also Abel Chika, who is the Africa ELTA PD assistant. And I'm so excited to announce to you that we are having two new members join our team. And we have Chris from Uganda and we have Letitia from Ghana. And they are going to be supporting us, in the professional development team for Africa ELTA. So we are all here today and we will be discussing with you on the topic prioritizing professional development. And this is a topic that is very, very dear to us in the PD department. And we know and also hope that it's important to you all. Thank you all for joining us once again. And right away, I would like to talk to you about um, something very important when it comes to prioritizing professional development, and it is goal setting. Like the common saying goes, if you fail to plan, you have plans to fail. So first things first, we need to set a goal. You need to have a plan. What is your professional development plan? If you're asked, for example, what is your professional development plan? Where do you want to see yourself in the next 1 year as a teacher? In the next 6 months as a teacher? In the next 5 years as a teacher? What areas would you like to improve on? You need to be very, very specific about your improvements, about your goals, about your plans, about specific areas that you would like to improve on, you know, and you need to measure your growth. So as you identify those areas and you begin to attend webinars, you begin to register for courses, go for trainings, maybe online or face to face, you should be able to measure your growth. All of these things meeting up with what you want to achieve. Are you seeing progress? Are they beneficial to you? Are they relevant? You know, these days, especially the online webinars, we have so many, coming up every day, every week, so you should be able to choose what is relevant to you, you know, what do you need in your classroom, you know, and as you begin to, attend these webinars, it's very important that you implement all of those strategies, that you are being taught, those insights, those ideas you gain, from the facilitator or even other participants who share their ideas or experiences. You try to work towards some of those tips, try to put them to practice and see if it's going to work for you as well. you know so you need to be able to identify areas that you want to improve on, okay, measure your growth and check how relevant it is, you know, to your work, you know, and also you have to find out if you can achieve all of these things, all of these trainings, all of these webinars. How well can you achieve them? The reason why I'm saying this is, um, realistically, right now, you notice that so many associations, so many organizations, you know, have lots of programs ongoing these days for teachers. So you see in a week you can have like 10 webinars, you can have like 10 training courses, you know. So as an individual, you should be able to sit down and calculate your schedule, your plan, you know, your work life, your family life, and tell yourself, how many of this am I able to achieve within this period? You know, because we see some people, attending all trainings, attending all courses, you know, but for me, what is most important is to implement what you have learned. So if you're attending so many, you know, how easy is it for you, you know, to really take track of your learning, take track of your growth, you know. So you need to find out how achievable those plans that you've set, you know, is. You know, so you want to attend um, webinars this year, you want to improve this year, you know, but you need to also sit down and check, can I attend one webinar per week? Can I attend one webinar per month? Which is achievable for me, you know. So that's something very key that you need to also look at. All right. Then you have to also set a time bound for all of these things, you know. So you can't just say, this year I want to attend webinars, this year I want to improve professionally, you know. So you can see in the next 1 month, I want to achieve this, I want to improve in this area, you know. In the next 2 months, I want to achieve this, I want to improve in this area, you know. So it has to be time bound. So when it comes to professional development, goal setting is key. You need to prioritize. We are busy people, teachers are very busy, you know, but you need to always prioritize and, you know, have that discipline to say, I am going to train myself as a teacher, I am going to improve in this area, and I'm going to implement what I have been trained on, the webinars I've attended, the ideas I've gained, I'm going to implement them. All right, so I would like to stop here for now, and I'll be handing over to my colleagues to continue from here. I'm sure you're going to gain a lot of things from what they'll be sharing with all of us today. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Blessing. Once again, if you have any comments or questions, you can use the chat box. We'll be all there willing to help or respond to any questions or comments. Um, I guess it's now my turn. Blessing has handed the baton to me. Um, so as Christopher, I want to share my story. Like Blessing said, this is our first time, I and Letitia, to be on this. But again, we still have stories to share. As a way of introduction, I'm Christopher Liberty. I am a member and a leader in Uganda National English Language Teachers Association. And I would like to share with you my story and journey, but to inspire you to have a continuous growth mindset. It's very key for you as a teacher, and it is very vital both in your personal and professional growth. I just want us to use the chat for just 30 seconds. Talk to me. How would you describe growth mindset? In the chat, just say, what else would you use to describe growth mindset? And as we're doing that, I would like to continue. Um, The growth mindset, or the way that you would describe it in the chart, is one of the most important ingredients for professional growth and development for all of us as teachers. Oh, I don't see you guys using the chat. Yeah, good. The fact of not giving up. Thank you. So, in your own words, please describe what you think the growth mindset would be. But I'll go on. I only have 10 minutes. But I think not giving up is a very good example. But for me, that word is momentum and continuous standing up even when you face challenges. But with that, you must have a mindset of receiving feedback, continuing to grow, and ensuring that you do not stay in one level year in, year out. Maybe I'll share just my personal story for a few minutes, maybe three. Um, I began becoming very active in my TA in around 2017, but the highlight was when I was selected by ELTA to attend a leadership event in Addis Ababa in 2018. That truly changed my trajectory. It gave me a lot of exposure, gave me opportunity to interact with very many people. That's when I heard about the Hornby Scholarship. That is when I heard about, other opportunities to expand my horizons and grow better. So from there, I became more active in my TA. Um, Shortly after, I met a friend who introduced me to a program called Shivning, which funds teachers or other professionals who are doing impactful work in their country to study abroad in the UK for at least 1 year for their masters. So I tried it in the next year. I was unsuccessful. Now that speaks to the growth mindset. So what did I do? I reached out to my friends, fellow colleagues, fellow teachers. I remember one of them had been successful in one of the Fulbright programs for the US Embassy. I think I've seen a few here who are members of Fulbright. I think if I'm not mistaken, Fatih mate is a member of the Fulbright or has benefited from that program. But it was from encouragement and discussion from people who had won such programs that I developed a mindset of continuing to learn and continuing to seek knowledge to make myself better professionally and personally. Because I believe as a teacher, you first gain, you first get the knowledge, you first get the professional. Yes, thank you, Fatih. You first get before you give to the students. So it's very important that you cultivate for yourself the growth mindset, and then you can pass it on to your students. So, one of the other nuggets that I would want you to pick from this meeting is as a teacher, as a professional, you give what you have. So you have to learn to cultivate within yourself a growth mindset that you will then be able to pass on to the students. Fast forward, I worked with a few people who had, gotten onto those programs. I believed that my abilities are going to improve and are going to develop. Um, Fast forward, I was successful in my next trial, and I think it changed a lot of my life. I got exposure. I I think some of the things that I have achieved are because of that program. So, finally, before I conclude, I want to contrast growth mindset to fixed mindset. So, fixed mindset sounds like I'll never learn to speak fluently. I think you might have heard some of your students say, I'm not so good at grammar, or grammar is so difficult for me. But growth mindset says, I can improve if I try different strategies, or I am not good at grammar yet. So that means that, yes, I have not reached there, but I am not going to say that I will never, because of course we know that mistakes are part of the process. So it's very key that we begin to take shape of the mindsets. First of all, our own mindsets, and then also help the teachers, sorry, the students to develop mindsets of growth and development within learning, first of all, and also as themselves as students. If there is anything that I have learned in my professional journey, it is that learning never stops. So I would want to encourage you, like Blessing was saying, create a chart, create a vision board, create goals that you want to achieve in your professional development journey and stick to it. If you're a visual learner, write it on a board, write it somewhere, or record it, or put it on, I think, a locker in your staff room, and you say, I am going to achieve this. That is the kind of growth mindset that I would want all of us to aim to achieving. Thank you so much. I think that was it from me. If you have any comments, questions, we're going to respond to them. Maybe just I pass the baton to Letitia. Let me just answer briefly how to build this mindset because it does not come from the air. Thank you, Pierre. That is true. Growth mindset cannot come from the air. It must be cultivated. I will maybe give you just in 30 seconds. Remember that if you have grown the most, it was when you made a conscious choice. So I would want to say that the first beginning point is you to make a conscious choice. You're like, you know what? I am tired of being stagnant. I am tired of not achieving what I want. So I would say having a growth mindset usually sometimes comes from when you do not want to stay where you are and you make a conscious decision, then the rest will fall into place because growth mindset is a mindset change, it's a mindset shift. It's not something that is physical, it happens when your consciousness is affected. So I would say maybe the beginning point is when you're tired of stagnation and you say, you know what, let come what may, I want change. And then from then, like Blessing was saying, draw small steps that will make you reach to where you want to be. But the beginning point is when you get tired and you want change in your professional or personal life. Thank you so much. We'll respond to the most of the other questions in the Q&A. I would love to pass it on now to Letitia. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Greetings from Ghana. My name is Letitia, and I am happy to be part of this team. And I am grateful to my colleague, Liberty, for handing over the baton to me. I'll be discussing with you how to leverage mentorship and professional relationships to grow as a teacher. We all know how important mentorship is. And mentorship is the relationship where an individual who is more experienced is able to guide a less experienced person to grow in in whatever field or profession that person finds himself or herself. When it comes to us as educators or English as a second or as a foreign language teachers, professional development is very, very important. And we can attain professional development through mentorship. That is one of the processes through which we can achieve professional development. Now, the big question is, where do I find a mentor? And how do I find a mentor? Now, finding a mentor shouldn't be so difficult. I know most people believe finding a mentor is difficult. How do I get to somebody? How do I get someone to help and guide me in my journey as a teacher? It is not so difficult. We can find mentors at so many places, even unexpected places and events. For instance, in professional associations like Africa ELTA here, I believe there are so many people that you admire, so many people who are doing so well in the field of ELT, and you wish to be like them. Yes, that person that you look up to and that person that you wish to be like is definitely a mentor, because I believe that person possesses so many qualities that you also wish to possess. Apart from professional associations like Africa ELTA, TELTA, LPAC, ELTAN, IELTA Ghana, these are all associations which we belong to as teachers and where we can find mentors. We can also find mentors at events like conferences and programs, short programs, like the upcoming Africa ELTA conference in Tanzania. Who knows? You may just find your mentor there. Why don't you just pack your bags and meet us in Tanzania, where you definitely may come across somebody who you admire, somebody who you look up to, and probably have that person as a mentor. Now, in my own experience, this program which Africa ELTA runs it's one of the life-changing events that I have had in my life. That is the Africa ELTA Female Leadership and Mentoring Program. So in 2023, I applied and got selected, fortunately. And I have since been working with my mentor. In fact, it is through my mentor that my work got to an international platform in Scotland. I wasn't there to present, but then he went there and he took my work along with him. So that is one of the benefits of having a mentor. And if you are a woman or a female teacher, I think you should keep your eyes on the Africa ELTA page. And when it is time for the Africa ELTA Female Leadership and Mentoring Program to accept new applications, I hope you just put in an application. And when you are selected, you will have a mentor who will definitely guide and support you to change your life as a teacher. Now, talking about my own experience again, I met a wonderful person when I went on Fulbright, Fulbright Teaching Excellence and Achievement Program in 2020 at the University of North Carolina, Wilmington in the USA. And this woman has been very, very supportive. It is through her that I was able to publish my first article as a teacher. And currently, I am collaborating with her and 3 other professors in the USA. And we are carrying out a research into how literature texts can be used to stimulate leadership skills in young girls. We are trying to determine how we can use literature texts, anything that is written in English, any form of text to stimulate leadership skills in young girls. And we are seriously on that research, and I am learning a lot from the female professors who I am collaborating with, and they are guiding me. So Professional relationships and mentorship, it's key when it comes to professional development. When you belong to a teacher association like those that I mentioned earlier, if you are able to attend conferences and if you are able to attend events, you can approach people. That is one way. You don't only have to meet mentors when you attend events like conferences or when you are a part of scholarships or programs like Fulbright. You can also reach out to somebody who you believe has the expertise and is capable of guiding you to grow as a teacher. Um, Professional relationships are very, very important. And I normally make use of all the people that I have in my network. Um, as at now, my learners have interacted with more than, or let me say, they have interacted with teachers, colleague teachers from more than 40 countries in the world. And all the guest teachers I have had are people I met at events. They are people that I met on this very platform, Africa ELTA, and they are people that I met at other teacher associations like the ones that we have in Ghana. And so having professional relationships as a teacher does not only benefit you, but tends to benefit your students as well. Now, using the people in my network um, has exposed my learners to uh, different cultures around the world. You know, we are in the 21st century, and we need to build the mindset of our learners so that they are able to develop in such a way that we prepare them for life after school, so that wherever they find themselves, they are able to fit into that environment perfectly. So when we talk about cross-cultural communication, we talk about global citizenship and tolerance, teamwork. I am able to do that with my learners because I make use of the professional relationships that I have with colleague teachers. I saw somebody in the chat, somebody mentioned if it's possible that you have a virtual mentor. Yes, the mentor I had through the Africa ELTA Female Leadership and Mentoring Program mentored me virtually. And I only met him, later on at the Africa Alta Conference last year in Egypt. So it is important to have a virtual mentor. If you cannot meet the person, face to face, that shouldn't be a hindrance. You can still, have your sessions and the person can guide you virtually. Another person in the comments also mentioned that Africa ELTA should expand the mentoring program to accommodate men. Yes, so I believe members of the board are here and they are listening, and I'm sure they are going to do something about it so that the men are not left out. Thank you very much for listening. I'll pass over the baton now at this point to my colleague, Abel. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Letitia, the village teacher with a global attitude. It's
That's
always a
me.
pleasure, yeah, seeing you, sharing your story. Very inspirational. And I'm sure there are many people who look up to you too, just the way you look up to others. And talking about mentors, I see everybody is sharing, or a few people are already sharing names of their mentors. I can see one of my mentors is here, Linda Ruas. It's very good to have you, Linda. Thank you so much for joining in today's session. So quickly, I would like to ask, my presentation basically it's about staying current with trends in education. We've talked extensively about professional development, and I would like to ask you a question. So please type in the chat quickly. When was the last time you tried something new in your teaching practice based on a recent educational trend? When was the last time you tried something new based on a recent educational trend? As a teacher, when was the last time you did that? So let's see in the chat if we have anybody who has done anything recently. And what was it you did? Anything new? Okay, a week ago. Thank you very much, Mariam. I know many schools are in session now, so yeah, yesterday. Thank you. Oh, awesome. December 2024. Wow. I tried something new 3 months ago. Oh, thank you very much, Madam Presida. And 2 weeks ago, I tried a picture talk lesson on competency-based approach. Beautiful. Yeah, that's good. Now, the truth is, as a teacher, what you should always have at the back of your mind is that education is constantly evolving. So to stay relevant and effective, you need to grow with it. You need to grow with what is the trend. Now, why is it important to stay relevant, or why is it important to stay connected to the trends? Well, number one, you've got to adapt to your learners' needs. Most of us, I'm sure, can admit that our learners these days are digital natives, and they also have diverse learning styles. So you need to connect with your learners' needs. And the best way to do that is to stay connected with the trend. Second point here is that you also need to be credible, in your teaching. When you stand before an audience and your credibility is in doubt, most times it's a function of your connection with what is the trend. In most sectors of our educational systems, collaboration, research, leadership, these are key topics, key points that as a professional you must have at the back of your mind. And then we have policy and curriculum changes. If you're from Nigeria, most times once we have a change in government and there's a new minister of education, there's usually a shift in the curriculum or in the focus. For example, now we are more concerned about vocation, how teachers can connect their teaching styles with what is needed in the market sector. So you have people talking about entrepreneurship and so on. So you have to tie that to your teaching practice. And of course, explore technology integration in classrooms. Many classrooms are becoming more digital these days, especially for those who are in cities and in well-developed sectors of education. So it's important to stay current. And everyone, I'm sure, who is on this chat or on this call will agree with me that you can't stay in the past. You need to be aligned with what is happening today. Now, there are some categories of emerging trends that I think you should watch out for. If you have not connected to it, please connect to it. The first is pedagogical approaches. There are some things in pedagogy that are changing that many of us need to be conversant with. You can find it in many spaces where we are talking about education now. Things like project-based learning, inquiry-based learning, personalized or differentiated instructions, competency-based education. You see, these are pedagogical approaches that you need to be conversant with. What about technology in classroom? Technology in the classroom. We're talking about AI now. It's the British Council has been talking about it for a while. So if you haven't connected with what AI, artificial intelligence, is all about, please, this is a good time to take on courses that can help you improve the quality of your formative assessment, even hybrid and blended learning models. As a teacher, you should know that you can have a hybrid way of teaching. A while ago, Letitia was talking about connecting her students with over 40 different people. I'm not sure they all walked into her class physically. I'm sure they did that virtually, and she used some sort of technology in her classroom to connect learners to um, professionals and experts from different parts of the world, as it were. Also, assessment trends. The assessment trends that we need to also know. The alternative assessments to what we used to know, formative and summative assessments. Now, people are talking about portfolios, gamified quizzes, just so that you can connect your learners to the reality of what you're teaching them. And then we also have teacher wellness. ELTA, English Language Teachers Association of Nigeria, this year will be having a conference. And one of the sub themes we are looking at is teacher wellness as part of the trends in pedagogy in the 21st century. What is the mental health awareness of the teacher? As a teacher, are you aware of your mental health? The support that you can get as a teacher. Do you know where you can find such supports? And then we have things like community of practice. If you are not part of the community of practice of the English Connects on Telegram and on WhatsApp, please go to the Teaching English website, Teaching English Africa website, and get connected, where you have support from different teachers who are willing to share their experiences and their knowledge about their work. And it's amazing how people have become better, with each passing day. So here are some practical strategies to stay current. First, you have to join a professional learning network. And these professional learning networks are online. Some of them are even physical, your teacher associations. I've mentioned Teaching English, English Connects, social media platforms on Telegram and on WhatsApp. You can join such learning networks and become even a better teacher by connecting with others. You can also engage in continuous learning via MOOCs, webinars, and conferences. The previous speakers have spoken about those things. And then you can also subscribe to an educational blog, newsletters, and journals. Once you subscribe, they send you routine mails where you can find out what is happening in your career and how you can improve yourself. And then you can practice what we call reflective teaching and practice collaborating with colleagues, both at the local level and at the international level. Wherever you find yourself, have that growth mindset to want to connect with other people and learn from their experiences and become even a better teacher. And then you can also advocate for institutional support and in-house professional development. There's nothing wrong with reaching out to people who have the expertise or have the resources to help. I like what the story that Chris mentioned earlier. The first try, he didn't get it, but he tried again. He reached out to people who could help, and he got it. So the same thing applies to you. You can keep trying until you get it. Now, are these without challenges? Of course not. There are many challenges that you'll come across when you talk about the trends and what you want to achieve as a professional. But here's the way to achieve or to overcome such challenges. First challenge is the issue of overload of information. I'm sure those of us who are here, I'm sure there are many courses you have started and you have not finished. There are also webinars you plan to attend. For some reasons, you did not attend those webinars. And I'm sure after this webinar, some people will send me a chat and say, oh, I forgot. I didn't know the time was so time. Well, what you do is to prioritize what is most important. You can't pick everything at the same time. We have an adage, or let's just say it's a proverb. here in Nigeria, where they say you see a madman carrying plenty loads because he thinks this is good, this also is good, this is good, this is good, and he's carrying on too many things that are useless because he feels everything he sees or he comes across is good. Please prioritize what you think you need and stick to it. Now, the issue of lack of time, which is what many of us suffer. We don't have time to engage in some of these activities. Well, you can schedule your learning weekly. You can give yourself 2 hours or 1 hour weekly to learn something new. Start with a manageable time, and that will help you to grow. What about limited resources? Sometimes people say we don't have resources. There are free platforms and open access journals where you can also get the same information that others who are saying you have to pay for have. So what it simply means is that start with the free ones before you go on to the other ones that are paid. And then what about skepticism? You can also overcome skepticism by um, doing something we call um, sharing your successes. When you share your success stories, it helps you to become even more confident in greater goals that you want to achieve. So sit down, reflect, and look back. Oh, if I could have done this and this in the past, it means I can do this and this in the future. Encourage yourself and try as much as possible to be consistent. So let me ask you a question. Would you like to share with us any of the trends that you think excites you most right now? Is there any trend in the educational sector? Perhaps you read about it, you saw it in the webinar, or you had experienced people talking about it at a conference. Is there any trend that excites you right now that you know about? Please share in the chat. Let's read what you have been going through. Slido, yes, thank you very much, Fatou. Is there a trend that excites you? Any trend? Sort, yes. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I think that's what you mean, Fatih. Thank you very much. That's a good trend. Can we have more trends? Anybody? I'm passionate about integrating multilingual approach. Yes, multilingual approaches in ELT. That's a very powerful one. Yuver, it's good to see you. Thank you. AI, thank you very much, Chris. Google Classroom, self-directed professional development. You see, these are all trends. Thank you very much. All right. So which other trend will you like to try out? Perhaps from the ones that have been listed today, or that you hear about, you're thinking about it. Can you share with us the ones that you hope to try out soon? Anytime soon. Do you have any trend in the educational sector that you would like to try out? Blogging. Yeah, it's something to try out. Imagine your lesson notes. Your lesson notes is a huge material for blogging. You can, on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, you can try that out. And you'll be amazed how much money you would even fetch yourself and visibility you fetch yourself from blogging. Flipped classroom, yes. Use technology tools in my classes. Yes, Fatih, I agree. Create a YouTube channel. Aha, Catherine, that's really ambitious. I would like to subscribe to your YouTube channel. As soon as it's created, please let us know so that we can join. Social emotional learning. Thank you, Pierre. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for sharing your thoughts. So by way of recap, we are basically saying that you've got to be proactive, you've got to be curious, and you've got to be open to change if you want to stay on top of the game in the profession. And we also encourage you to explore one trend every month. have a journal where you document or you keep track of all the trends that you want to keep up with and follow up. So by way of ending, I'll end with a quote from someone who is unknown, but it's a very good quote that I would like you to go home with. And it says, teachers who learn will be teachers who lead. Teachers who learn will be teachers who lead. So keep on learning and don't stop learning. That's my time. And then I'll be handling the questions and answer session. So please, it's time to ask questions based on what you have heard today, or perhaps anything about professional development that you like to know about. We are here to respond to your questions. And in the event that I can't answer your questions, I have the President, Risabella, here, and I have other more experienced educationists here who will respond to your professional development questions. So thank you very much for listening, and it's time for questions and answers. Chris, are we still on time? Are we on track? Chris?
Yes, yes, we have about
Yeah.
11 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
maybe I can start with I promised PL to give him a more detailed response for his question about how to build a growth mindset, because it doesn't come from the air. Yeah, but before I do, I think I would also like to give a shout out to the mentors that were mentioned in the chat. I think that's very brilliant. Yeah, so Linda Roos, she's here. There's a shout out from Mary. Blessing Epum, shout out. People say you're a great mentor. Fiona, Kandondi, Sophia. Sorry if I butcher your names. Forgive me. Then Mubiru, Benon, and Mabonga Geoffrey. So your work is being appreciated from your mentees. Thank you so much. Just in about 1 minute, I would like to maybe give what I could say can be a vehicle to cultivating a growth mindset. And I will give it as a sort of acronym, and let us call it GROW. GROW with G, meaning make sure that you are curious all the time. So get curious all the time. Like Ebo was saying, you can even structure your curiosity so that you're trying something new every month and stay hungry for new knowledge. So instead of saying, I've always done this way, I've always taught my class this way, keep asking yourself, what's a better way to reach out to my students this week? What's a better way of teaching grammar today? And of course, it's very key that you schedule your webinars, your meetings, you schedule your classes or MOOCs in a way that will not burn you out. I can't say this enough. In the quest of cultivating your growth mindset, you shouldn't burn out. You can't attend all the webinars there are in the world. You can't attend all the courses there are in the world. Ensure that you are scheduling them in a way that will facilitate learning. Because if you go to all the webinars there is in the world, you're actually not learning, you're just attending. In those webinars, be fully present. Ask questions, be present in the webinars you attend so that you value your time. But if you're just attending webinars for the sake of, there's a webinar, Blessing has been telling me to attend, Ebo has been reminding me, so yeah, let me go. That's not helpful. Attend webinars that are going to be impactful for you. Do not just go because you have some free time and you join the Zoom call and you're not even listening. So that is not helpful for you. That's very poor use of your time. Then R, reflect, 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 reflect. If you can have, I remember in my training as an educator, we were encouraged to have reflective journals. But unfortunately, I think some of us only had them because they were a requirement for us to pass that educational training. Have a journal, have a way of recording. Some of you may be using voice notes after the lesson, and you're like, yeah, what worked? What confused the students? What can I tweak? What can I change? And reflect on the mistakes, not to be hard on yourself, not to blame yourself. Reflect to make it better next time. So reflect, reflect, and reflect. Do not react, because if you react, then you're not going to do what is best in your mind at that moment. Then the O is own your journey. So you've had Letitia went to the US and a Fulbright program. Chris went to the UK and a Chevening program. And you're like, yes, I must go under Chevening. I must. This is it. Nothing else should work for me. No, every one of us has a different journey. Do not compare your progress to the others. Compare your progress of yesterday to today. If you've moved an inch, if you've become better, if you've improved from where you were yesterday to now, that is a win, and celebrate that. Do not take away your journey's celebrations because maybe someone has, I don't know, won something bigger. Own your journey and create it because it's for you. You know how you want your professional growth or your mindset to change. Then finally, this is obvious. I think you've mentioned it also in the chart, is welcome feedback. Ask your peers, your mentors, like we've mentioned, and let them give you honest opinions. If you get mentors that are only telling you what you want to hear, please ditch them. Get a mentor who is telling you the exact thing that you need to hear to help you grow. If they are patting you on the back every time, even when you feel you've done wrong, that is not a proper mentor. Be able to actually have the energy to say, you know what, thank you, our journey has been great, but this is the end of the road. Because you own your journey. You will not, you must not stick with a mentor who is not helping you. So get feedback that is going to help you, not even when we've had a very horrible lesson and someone comes and tells you that was an amazing lesson. No, 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 no. Have a feedback loop that is helpful, that is structured, that identifies areas that you can improve. So once again, use the GROW acronym to help you get curious, reflect, own your journey, and welcome feedback. Yeah, back to you, Ebo.
Thank you very much for that detailed response. Chris, there's a question in for Letitia, which reads, how did you start setting the link between your learners with other teachers or learners? What were your approaches?
Okay,
It's
so
from
thank
Pierre.
you very much, Pierre, for that question. Like I mentioned earlier, I have had colleague teachers from more than 40 countries around the world joining my classroom virtually. I just get into their emails. For those that I saw on the Africa ELTA platform, I send them WhatsApp messages. That is it. I strike acquaintance with them actually. I try to become friends with them. And after some time, I invite them to join my classroom based on the expertise that they have. So it's just a matter of creating that relationship, that professional relationship and networking with other people. Let me quickly add that in February, there's this poet in Sierra Leone, Elizabeth Kamara. her poem is one of the poems that literature students in West Africa, the whole of West Africa, are studying currently. So I got to know that she's alive, and that's good because some of the writers, and they are long gone. So what did I do? I tried to find her email and I sent her an email. Madam Poet, my students are studying your poem and I want them to learn from the writer's perspective. And I would like to invite you to join us. Can you come? And she said, why not? I would love to interact with your students. So I just believe that we just have to dare and have that kind of hunger to do more. So yeah, be daring and just try to make friends and create a lot of networks with colleague teachers who I believe are willing to join your classrooms virtually to interact with you and your learners. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Letitia. That was spot on. So we've got just barely 2 minutes to wrap up today's session. I would call on the president, Madam President. Madam Rita Bella, are you here? I'd like you to respond to Yusef's question and then just say a word or two in closing. And his question is, given the diverse contexts across African countries, how do you envision sustainable, locally driven models of professional development that truly responds to the unique needs of English language teachers on the continent? The question is a mouthful, but if I understand, the focus here is how do we find something that is contextualized for African or teachers of English language who are African, and something that is sustainable. Madam Presida, if you are here, please, would you like to respond to that question and then say a word or two to close today's meeting? Thank you. Madam President, your microphone is muted,
You're
ma'am.
muted.
Oh, okay, she can't unmute herself. Oh, that's sorry. Can you help us unmute her?
Yeah,
you.
it's done.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
The idea of us remaining relevant towards the needs of the African countries means that we should be willing to move with the times. All the four presenters talked about us moving with the modernity that we're in. And you will find that even though our needs are different, they are very similar on our continent, in that we all do not use, first of all, we all do not use English as our home language. English is a foreign language, is a second language, is a 15th language for us. That on its own makes us to come into the space of English in a different way from those who use English in their native countries like the UK, the US, and so on. And I would like to think that's what makes us unique as Africa. But for us to get to a point where we'll say this is a contextualized way, I'm sure we'll have an umbrella thing. We will never have one solid thing, but there'll be an umbrella thing that we agree on. And then we will all have to pull from that and contextualize in our little corners where we are. I think that's the one thing I could say. And I'd like to, in closing, Chair, thank the PD office for such a beautiful presentation. We've all learned a lot, and we can see that we have a strong team that is going to help us as we move on in the professional space. There's never anyone who knows more. We are all learning, and I'm quite excited that we have a team like you in that office. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Madam President. It's a pleasure to have you join in, and I'm sure in a few weeks we will be together in Dar es Salaam If your bags are not yet set, please make sure you set your bags ready. We're going to be having a good time in Dar es Salaam for our annual international conference, Africa ELTA conference. And I'm sure everyone who is here has got one or two things to go home with. Thank you, Blessing. Thank you, Letitia. Thank you, Chris, for the presentations. And from the comments, we can see that people are excited about the presentations. Thank you, Linda. And it's a wrap. So have a good night rest and have a lovely week ahead. It's bye-bye from me, and I'm sure the other presenters are also saying bye-bye. Thank you.